Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Suidlanders Media channel, where we have a Tuesday program and a Thursday program. The Thursday program is, of course, the weekly events program. Both of them is me, Marius Greyling, and Simon Roche. How are you, Simon?
I'm well, thank you, Marius. As I mentioned to you yesterday, was bitten by what's known as a black widow spider, as opposed to a brown black widow spider, and they can cause fatalities. So I'm in agony. I'm not on my last legs. I'm not going to be kicking the bucket, but it's happened to me once before, as some listeners and viewers may remember, and it is absolute agony. But I'm hopped up on pills, so
On
I
pain
should
meds?
be I should be fine. I would just be lying if I said everything is dandy, because it's damn sore.
Yeah, I can believe you. Okay, Simon, yeah, let's jump straight in. The USA, there's a Senate bill that targets and is going to sanction specifically the ANC. I know you know a lot more about it than just that one sentence that I mentioned. Can you tell the audience a bit more about it?
Yeah, Marius, this has been coming for some time. A number of US lawmakers, that is to say, the US Congress is made up of the House of Representatives, 435 guys. Some states only, by law, because they're small, they can only send a couple of guys to the House of Representatives. Other states like California and Texas, large populations, large geographically, send more. So that's 435 people in the House of Representatives. And the Senate is made up of two senators, regardless of the size of the state. From each state times 50 states, that gives you 100 senators. It's actually a little bit more complicated than that, because the Speaker of the House has a special role. But to keep it simple, US lawmakers from the Senate and the House have been discussing, bringing up the subject, looking into the thing for, I would say, going back 3 years now, on and off. We keep getting these reports of a senator or a representative who is annoyed by something that's going on in South Africa, and he says something should be done about it. We've now got Senator John Kennedy. He's a Republican. He's from Louisiana in the deep South, got a very strong Southern accent, introduced legislation on Monday. Today's already Thursday. This video usually comes out the following day, so people will see it on Friday. So we're 4 days away from this event, but for some reason we only got wind of it yesterday, Wednesday, 2 days later. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. But he's introduced legislation creating a kind of a partner bill, an in tandem bill, to work with legislation that was introduced by a chap called Ronnie Jackson from the House of Representatives. So,
Yeah.
so John Kennedy from Louisiana, the senator, is from the senior house. The junior house, the bigger house, a chap called Ronnie Jackson. We've been hearing about Ronnie Jackson on and off for quite a while now. They've each introduced bills that will work in tandem with one another against South Africa. So this is Bill 2752, S2752, Senate Bill number 2752. The US South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act has the same name as its House counterpart. So
Yeah.
these two guys are obviously working with one another. And the text of the bill is almost identical to that of the House bill, which is called 2633. Notably, the Senate bill identifies the entire African National Congress as the problem. So the Senate version is explicitly intended to punish South Africa for anti-American policies. Now, this has been coming for some time. You could say for years,
Yeah.
but over the past, 6, 7, 8 months, we're in September, since prior to Donald Trump's inauguration. Do you recall that in January, before his inauguration on, I forget whether it was the 21st or the 22nd of January, there were all sorts of rumblings from him and Elon Musk. And then he was inaugurated, and third day in office, I think it was, he and Elon were ranting about the South Africans. And Then Cyril Ramaphosa went over there to tell him that there are no farm murders, and he got an absolute spanking with a show and tell,
Yeah.
presentation in the Oval Office of the White House. So this is kind of not before time. We've had lots of warning, and you and I have discussed this, and I've said on a number of occasions, big trouble is coming. They are furious with BRICS generally, with the state of trade in the world, with the advantage that has been taken of the United States of America, and also, I want to use family-friendly language, the strumpet nature of the ANC. A strumpet is a bad woman. The ANC is the master at being friends with, two husbands, as it were.
Yeah.
And the USA has had enough. So it's a very much an intermingled thing. Not enough people are adequately aware of the ground shaking nature of BRICS and related endeavors. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is not an economic thing. It was initially founded, Shanghai in China,
Yeah.
as an anti-terrorism organization. It was a Chinese initiative to get the Central Asian states and others, but particularly Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, to collaborate on containing Muslim extremism from the Muslim states in Asia. That's how it began, and then it expanded. But my point is that between the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and BRICS, and the helping hand that Russia is lending here and there, and the great support that moral support, only moral support. There's nobody alleging otherwise, but the incredible moral support that China is giving to Russia. All of these things interconnect. Another thing that interconnects is the New Development Bank. The work we keep hearing about, and then we're told it's not true, and then somebody leaks something, and then that turns out to be a false leak. The work on a potential BRICS currency. The fact that in this week, Russia released figures showing the explosive trajectory, if you imagine a graph, of the use of the Russian ruble for international trade over the dollar. And finally, these people have begun to wake up. I've been talking about this for years, and for a year and a half or whatever it is with just you, Marius.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered why it is that nobody, and you're on my WhatsApp groups, Suidlanders WhatsApp groups. You see the things that I post. I continually refer to BRICS and these other connected, the spider web of new developments in the world of finance and economics and currency and security and so on as very, very, very big. This is huge. This is incredible. This is amazing. This is unbelievable. And I have been baffled by United States leaders' failure, apparent failure, to grasp just how big these changes are. Countries all over the show are abandoning the dollar. And this, I'll segue into something else here. This is just one illustration of my point, Marius. A couple of days ago, we received the official data that comes out periodically from the USA of unrealized losses on investment securities for US banks, and it has hit 395.3 billion in quarter 2 2025. So the quarter that ended the end of June. You know, these figures always come out a little bit later. To give you some idea, so let me help people a little bit. An unrealized loss is a guaranteed loss that you don't have to pay up today. It can be deferred in various ways for various reasons. But sooner or later, somebody's going to have to pay it. Okay. Investment securities, don't worry too much. That's like collateral, roughly. This is approximately 6 times higher than at the peak of the 2008 financial crisis.
Sure.
It marks the 13th consecutive quarter of losses due to persistently high interest rates. And the interest rates are high for a reason. It's got to do with consumer price indices, inflation. It's a complicated subject. My point being that as we have been discussing for a long time, and as very few other people seemed willing to recognize for the longest time, there are events occurring in the USA and in the West that are terribly, terribly severe. And I don't think that John Kennedy has introduced this bill purely and simply because the USA is having financial problems. But I insist again, it is all interconnected. If you don't look at it as an interconnected web of great developments happening across the world, you will never understand it for various reasons. The ANC, if I may use the word, being promiscuous with Russia in the USA's eyes, or being licentious. The BRICS changes, as things that we've already alluded to. All of these things taken together leave the USA almost with no choice but to be nasty. So it's using various pretexts, and it's not wrong. It's a bit like me, let's say I was upset with you over something, and I didn't want to accuse you of the thing that had upset me for whatever reason. It might be about me, it might be about you, it might be about a third party. So I get angry over something else altogether, which is a valid thing. It's not an invalid thing, but it's not really what's lying on my heart. I think that's what's happening here. I think that they're using the African National Congress as a kind of a straw man is the expression in English. You have a straw man argument. It's when I keep changing the subject of a dispute that you and I are having because I'm uncomfortable with you and me addressing the real source of our disputes. I keep on introducing straw man arguments. I think that that's what this is about. And they've got a great straw man argument. African National Congress governance is appalling. African National Congress loyalty is appalling. African National Congress theft and corruption is appalling. They deserve a kick in the pants. But I don't think it's because the USA genuinely cares that the African National Congress municipal government, not where I live now on the farm, but where I have my little house in the village of Van der Kloof, that they don't care that the African National Congress town council and municipality stole something like 100 million rands worth of residents' contributions to their electricity accounts, and that the employees of the municipalities skills development levy, any American can understand those three words. It's one of the things you have to pay. Workmen's compensation fund for injuries on duty, and pension contributions. There's a fourth one, pay as you earn, have not been paid since September 2017.
Sure.
African National Congress governance is abysmally bad.
Mm.
Any foreigner watching this would not be able to comprehend, I say with respect, unless they've really witnessed it. It is that bad in South Africa. Does the USA really care? Does Senator John Kennedy really care that much? Representative Ronnie Jackson, a Republican from Texas? I don't think so. I think this is about other things, Marius.
Yeah, and I think if you take the BRICS countries, we are the easiest whipping boys out of those countries at the moment. We are the easiest. They've got the most valid reason to tell the world what's going on in South Africa, but to whip us a little bit for the bigger agenda, like you've said, of what's going on in the world. Yeah. Then
I think you're dead right.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to, they're not going to take on Russia or China or some of the other BRICS countries. They might with the
the tariffs and the sanctions packages.
Yeah, but they can't do it that harshly like they will be able to do with us, because they've got the justification almost for it now. Like you said, it's not a lie that they're telling the world what's going on in South Africa, but it's also not telling the truth why they're really doing it. The question is, are we as the normal public in South Africa going to feel the effects of it?
Yes. Yes, we're going to be hammer smashed.
Yeah. Because everybody's
They
got this
can't.
golden belief that if the USA does this, it's only going to affect the ANC or the cadres or the this or the that. I don't know. It's going to ripple down to us. It's going to have to.
It always does, Marius. It always does. That's why I'm so certain of myself.
Yeah.
You know, if they placed a complete embargo on Russia, the USA wouldn't be able to obtain its uranium or fertilizer.
Yeah.
There would be an immediate reduction in the production of electricity in the United States of America by something like a quarter.
Mm.
I had a look at the figures, and it's not a straightforward thing. So I'm going to wing it and say by something like a quarter.
Yeah.
If the USA imposed a complete embargo on China, the
Sure.
USA would have zero rare earths.
Yeah.
Nil. Not like, oh, we can still get zero, but no, none. For the manufacturing of all, let's call it super electronics,
Mm.
phones, computers, Tesla, motor vehicles, all other motor vehicles manufactured in the USA, with computer chips, modern motor vehicles. They don't need South Africa all that much.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to flex their muscles. You are absolutely spot on with.
Yeah. Then on to the next unrest in France. We've seen over the weekend the what do you call it? The marches and the things in London and in England and so. But on the same time, there's a lot of that going on in France at the moment as well.
Yeah. Marius, the protests in England are about immigration. The protests in France are about financial problems. You and I spoke the other day about the French budget. I had a look at it. So they need 142 billion euros, and of which there's the total gross revenue, maximal possibility is about 105 or 107 billion euros. If you take the number 35, you put it into those figures. So 35 and 35 is 70, and 35 is 105, and 35 is 140. In simple terms, in the simplest terms, they are about 25% short on their budget. So they're trying to kind of pull back a little bit, and people are really feeling the pinch in France. There's been this economic malaise in Europe over the past few years, especially since the sanctions imposed upon Russia, especially since the Europeans have had to buy more expensive natural gas from the USA, the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline. I'm keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, in Europe, there's a big problem. And the French citizens are well known for their discontent. They expect to be taken care of at all times.
Yeah.
If there are problems out there in the world, not my problem. I will strike, I will march, I will burn down, smash down, do whatever I have to do. So apparently there are today a few 100,000 people who went on strike. There are 95 major road blockades, 230 separate rallies around France. Over 80,000 police have been deployed to quell the violence, and the government expects it to get worse. So I think a lot is coming to a head in France. I hosted a French journalist for a couple of days during the course of this week. And he's quite a pleasant character, nice guy to chat to, mainstream, liberal, whatever, but a pleasant human being, which is usually not the case with these people that they've been sending to see me for the past 8 years. I'm not talking about friends, I'm talking about professionals.
Mm.
And we eventually, we broke the ice and we developed some rapport. And he ended up speaking freely about the deterioration in France, which is not to say that it's the end. France has a long way to go. There are still many very beautiful, very clean, very white, areas of France, if that's what you're looking for. If you want to go on a holiday and see the French doing French things in French ways for French reasons, a lot of France is still that way. There's a long way to go before it's an absolute basket case. But things are not looking good, Marius. So we'll
Yeah.
monitor that over the next few days, Marius.
Yeah, I heard on a video that I watched that Macron is between a rock and a hard place. The public is totally against him, but if he does a snap election, he's definitely out. He's definitely out.
Mm.
He doesn't want to be out. I think the right-wing party, I'm not sure what it's called now, you might know. I think they've got more support now, and he is scared that if they do a snap selection now to pie the public, he's going to lose to them. And so
Rassemblement National,
yeah,
the party of Marine Le Pen, which is
that's it.
kind of an offshoot of a party of her father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, founded 35 odd years ago. And yeah, this is its current form. Rassemblement National, it means national rally. They have a lot more support.
Yeah,
You're spot on. If an election was held now, apparently he would get 13% of the vote.
sure. So yeah, he needs to try and calm the public, but at the same time, they want him out. And if he has to have an election, it's over for his political career in France. Definitely.
Tickets, but they say that he's a thoroughly vain man. If you've ever seen the videos that have done the rounds on social media, unquestionably it's him. There's no two ways about it. He was very effeminate when he was younger. Very. You know, we all reach a point in our lives when we look back and think, heavens above, did I wear clothes like that in my 20s? Or did I do something as stupid as that?
Yeah.
He may not regret it. All I'm saying is that it was practically like cross-dressing, extremely, extremely, extremely effeminate. And he's obviously an exceedingly vain man. And apparently he won't let go of power for anything. Those people who know what they're talking about, I'm by no means an expert on Macron, reckon that it will just never happen. The government would have to fall for him to leave office. And there's a leak now that he's going to govern by fiat
Okay.
from now on. Because how it works in France is you elect a president and then you elect a government. So the two don't necessarily have much to do with one another. It's a little bit more complicated than that. The president forms the government. He's meant to form it out of the party that got the best elections, but he's elected completely separately. And then he's meant to, when you hold the general elections as opposed to the presidential election, he's meant to see which party comes first and say, right, please, will you form a government? Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, blah, 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 blah. When the last elections were held, he didn't invite the winning party to form the government. He invited another party to form the government, and that party is in the process, we're hearing, of that government, I should say, of collapsing. Not the presidency, but the government, in this peculiar French way of doing things. So, yeah, he apparently, between now and the next presidential elections, intends to govern by fiat, by decree, which in French law is possible. If your government's all messed up, you can, as the president, say, all right, I'll be the Minister of Health. And not actually, you don't assume those roles, but you just say, well, this is what we're going to do in terms of health. This is what we're going to do in terms of finance. This is what we're going to do in foreign affairs. I'm not going to depend upon the people beneath me who are meant to be carrying out those tasks. The French president is meant to be like the old-fashioned chairman of the board. In the old days, now we have the American system, the CEO, and it's a little bit more dynamic, if you like. But in the old days, the chairman I met a few chairmen of the board, you know, and it would be like Harry Oppenheimer at 93, can barely see, barely walk, barely talk, you know, lost a lot of his cognitive abilities, but he's still the chairman of the board of his company, Anglo-American, end of story, and De Beers for that matter. All that the chairman of the board is meant to be is like an elder statesman, just keeping an eye on things. And then beneath him, he has the managing director, financial director, and so on.
Yeah.
I'm oversimplifying, but not by very much. That's how the French system is meant to work. You have president, and then you have a government under him. He's just supposed to, be the big president of the country, go to important meetings, shake hands, photographs. I'm a
Mm.
big guy. I'm the big cockerel or the number one cockerel, but with a functional government beneath him, with a prime minister. And as I say, it looks like that government is on its way out, and we are hearing rumors that Macron said, I'm not going anywhere. I was elected, I'm staying. If
Mm.
I don't have a functional government, I'll govern by decree. I'll just make decrees on, whatever the military or the health or education and so on. So I think that France is rapidly heading towards an enormous crisis,
Yeah.
and I expect that over the next year, these things don't always happen immediately. It may happen in 3 weeks' time. It may take a lot longer than that. Over the course of the next year, at the very, very most, the utmost, we're going to see some cataclysmic events in France, Marius.
Yeah. Yeah, and we spoke about it on our previous video that Germany is not far behind financially. It looks like most of the European EU's countries is going same path
Mm.
that France is going. Simon, we've got about 5 minutes left. If there's something that you want to have a quick mention before we say goodbye.
Yeah, Marius, South African retrenchments. Well, let me quickly mention the UK is teetering on economic collapse. We can maybe talk about that next week. We don't have time now, as you say, but there are big things happening in the USA in terms of the numbers in the markets. It could all blow up in a very short span of time. But I'll quickly mention this to you. Listen to this. Oh, goodness gracious me, Simon Roche. But what I want to talk about, and I'm really doing a poor job of it, and I apologize to everybody. I lost my place in my, all the things that are open, that I keep open when I do the interview. But the long and the short of it is we have in South Africa an absolutely phenomenal deindustrialization taking place before our very eyes. And as I say, I can't find it. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it perhaps on Tuesday. I'll look.
Yeah.
I'll look properly for it. But it's alarming, Marius. I was aware of the individual, plants closing down, factories shuttering. Not all of them, but enough. I thought I knew how bad it was. After I read that list, I realized that I didn't have a clue just how severe it is. So we'll leave that for next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Marius. And my apologies to everybody for tantalizing you
Yeah.
with something that I couldn't produce.
No, that's good. It's always good to leave a carrot in front of the of the donkey's nose for it to keep chasing. But yeah, Simon, thanks once again. It was lovely. It was good. One of the people that contacts me with regard to our videos told me, can we please do every second week, maybe the gold price? They like hearing about the gold price, but they would like to hear about it like every second week or so, just to keep them up to date. They are one of those people that really are interested in the gold and silver price. So yeah, just
Yeah,
telling
we
that
can
to
we
everyone.
can we can even do it every week. On some occasions, I'll just say this is what it is, not much change. You've heard the story before. You don't need
Yeah,
to be lectured again. On other occasions, we can make more of it. So you tell me, Marius, I'm up for it. No problems at all.
fantastic. Simon, have a great one. Hope the spider bites heal, or spider bite, just one, heals up quickly and completely. And then
Thank
have a
you.
good night.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Cheerio, Marius.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.